Hi, this is Vic Armstrong, host of the Strong Talk podcast. Thank you for joining me today for part two of our two-episode conversation with Emmy Award-winning actor and comedian JB Smoove. Today, we'll discuss JB's own personal lived experience in dealing with the aftermath of suicide by a close friend. Sit back and listen. You've had an amazing career, and you have had a plan and a pathway for how you get there. There are always twists and turns that can take us in different directions, but you know who you are. You're able to pivot. You're able to kind of stay in the pocket for where you want to be. But at the same time, I know you've seen other people who have struggled. You've had acquaintances that you've lost to suicide. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that? What was that experience like? Because again, this is something we would never think that JB Smoove had ever had that kind of experience.
Yeah, man. Look, I think people forget that outside of what you do, life continues, and life is, different levels to life that we all have to, on different levels, deal with. I have lost two amazing people. One was my buddy Danny, from who I met in college, who we struggled together. We used to go to Church's Fried Chicken, man, and buy $1.99 two-piece with the biscuit. And we would literally share it sometimes, because college students, man, you can't fill a college student's stomach, man, with that meal in the cafeteria. You need outside food. You need stuff when you're studying at 2 a.m. You know what I mean? You eat, not wait till 8 a.m. to go to the cafeteria. You need survival. You need first downs. I call it first downs. You need a bunch of first downs. You ain't gonna score a touchdown all the damn time in the middle category, but if you get a first down here and there, it'll get you through that semester, man. And I had a buddy of mine from Chicago, man, and I'm talking about so funny, man, so cool, great family, like almost a person with no substance will be jealous. You know what I'm talking about? Like, great family. I mean, me, man. I'm as a country boy from North Carolina. But that's my base. But I was also raised in the projects of Mount Vernon.
Right.
And if that doesn't have levels of depression here and there, you just gotta have something, and a lot of times this stuff is generational. It's generational sometimes. Or you'll find out, and I don't think it's the same as now. Back then, I feel like mental illness and that kind of stuff, I think people seen things differently back then. I think now the focus that's so different now on it that you almost understand it. And now you really start thinking about people. You didn't know that was it.
Right.
You didn't know because you didn't understand it like that back then.
Yeah, we didn't have
kid, a 19-year-old kid in college. You don't understand that.
Right.
You'd be like, man, or you a fool. You know what I mean? You don't know what they're going through. You don't know why they do things. You didn't know that back then.
Right.
So for me, now that I think about it as an adult, I remember different times in his life where I was like, what's he going through? You know what I mean? Like, it's all kind of different things. I didn't start thinking about it until years later. Like, he has a son that looks, when I tell you, exactly like him. Same height, same build, same everything. And it almost blows my mind a little bit. And every time I'm around his son, I'm like this. I said, boy, you don't have no idea how much you are your father. You look just like him. just like him, man. And it's so, but I didn't realize all of that. But, you know, losing that dude, and I mean, his son might have been a year or two old when he left us.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's hard because as much as we went through in college, and then he ended up marrying my daughter's mom's best friend. So we had that connection, like hanging out together with you know, we had all these levels to us, and we called each other brothers. We called each other brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he would talk about his family all the time. We talk about each other's families and stuff like that. But you know, back then I couldn't afford to go to Chicago back then. But once we became older, you know, I felt bad because I met I didn't meet his parents in person until he was gone.
Right.
Suicide. So for me, it was just like, wow. And then everything that he would tell me about his family, I saw in person. And when I got to the funeral and we talked and we met, and I talked to them on the phone before, but never met them in person. And I saw what he would describe to me. You know what I mean? And it's crushing to a family that did so much. You know what I mean? That it's almost like you're clueless to what your own child or your best friend is going through, which is a hard because you're left confused. Sometimes people get upset. I was upset because I felt like I didn't get the opportunity to be there completely for him to understand what he was going through. But then I started thinking about little things in college that I didn't think about like that because we were just college kids. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I knew sometimes he would be going through something, but I didn't think about it. We were just like, you know how it is in college, you're clowns.
Right.
You know, like there was 6 of us that hung out together. And we would joke all the time, and I never thought about it until after he was gone. Like, oh, he was really going through some stuff for real, you know? Yeah. So you don't understand it.
Yeah, I think you bring up a lot of really valid points, because I think one of the things different now is I think there's more openness about talking about mental health and mental health challenges now than there was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we're starting to talk more about it. But I think one of the things, and you kind of touched on this, one of the things that we do know now that the research tells us about suicide is that suicide is never the result of any one thing. You know, it's always a culmination of things. The way I describe it is that, you know, suicide is a combination of a lot of very complex things, often including mental health challenges.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that we're getting better about today is, you know, is being able to recognize the signs and symptoms and educating ourselves about the signs and symptoms, so that when you do have people that are struggling, not only are you better able to recognize the signs and symptoms, but you're also more comfortable intervening and saying, hey, you know, something seems, you know, a little bit off. Are you okay? You good? You know, what's going on with you? But part of the challenge, I think, also is when we don't see those signs, and oftentimes we won't, because oftentimes people who are struggling will reach out for help in a way that makes sense to them, doesn't make sense to us. We don't recognize it. But after the fact, oftentimes we're left wondering, should I have done something different? Should I have seen something? Should I have known more? Should I have done more? And I tell people all the time, if your friend or your loved one died by suicide, it's not that you didn't love them enough. It's not that you didn't try hard enough. It's really that their pain was more than they were able to deal with at the time. And we'll never fully understand why, because you're never going to fully understand what's going on in another person's mind. But I think the fact that his son, you're able to now talk to him and share with him about his father, I mean, that's a way of giving back. And that's a way of really remembering his life as opposed to just focusing on the death.
Yeah, man. And, you know, it was like an extension, you know how they say you have an extended family? I actually had an extended family with his family, and literally we became like real close. His brother, his sister, his son, we are close.
Mm-hmm.
It's something. It's really something to that is
right.
Of course, you wish you could experience it with him here, but I don't know. Sometimes it's like you kind of. I think I got it more for sure after he was gone. What it was, and I was like, man. But then I think some people get overwhelmed by the world and by life.
Right.
I remember even myself as a young person, not understanding the world, being overwhelmed. My thoughts would be overwhelm me. As far as I would always feel horrible when I heard bad news. You know what I mean? Whether it was on TV, whether it was on the newspaper, I always felt like. But I do think that is a testament to what I do, because I think we mentioned this before about I just feel like some people have a higher tolerance for pain, and I think some comedians have that. I think some people in life have that. They're the ones you can go talk to. They're the ones who plan the intervention for somebody, or you know what I mean. That's always that one person you say, "Oh, let Charlie do it," or let Ken do it. Let Bobby do it. He's good at that stuff. Because everybody can't do that. Everybody doesn't have that. Even when they see something right in front of them, they don't have the personality or the ability to say, "Hey man, what's wrong?" Some people just let it go because they just figure it's nothing.
Well,
it's nothing, or they figure they'll.
I will tell you this, the having the ability, having the gift of being able to make other people forget about their pain, forget about their troubles, and just focus on laughing and having a good time. That is putting good in the world. So thank you for what you do. Even when we started having a conversation about your friend, you talked about his life. You talked about the good memories that you all had, and then you switched and talked about now the legacy he left behind in his son.
Yeah.
That's a gift to be able to take pain and turn it into something that's really more life-giving. And so for that, I applaud you. And you're in the right profession.
Yeah, man. It's and then then this is like it's different like categories of it, because my other buddy, we just lost him over the holidays. My buddy Todd, it's like, but he just stretched it out. He just stretched it out all the way till he got to be 59 years old. It's like, you know what I mean? But it's like a slow burn. It's like the slowest burn you could ever imagine. But totally different personality. Someone who would never let you win. Laugh it off. You will never. He will seem so strong to you and so defiant, no matter what you said, he will be so defiant. I mean, defiant. Even in the hospital, I'm like, come on, man. You doing bad right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's hard when you try to help and you can't get through to them.
Right.
Like I remember when my last time seeing him out of the hospital, I said, look, man, why don't you do this? Get your health back on. I said, become a vegan, get your health right. I said, look, why don't we do this? Why don't you go away for 3 or 4 months and just get cleansed and get your body right, your mind right. Leave all this. Just leave all this. This stuff right here. If it's here when you get back, you will have more clarity on whether you want to deal with it or not. But right now, focus on yourself.
Right.
I said, I'll tell you what. I said, look, man, I will pay for it to send you somewhere just for 3 or 4 months.
Then do it.
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm good, man. Nah.
Well, you know it, but you know
like, come on, man. Huh?
As men, and especially as Black men, we are not socialized to open up and talk about emotions and pain. You know, we're taught to suck it up and be strong and don't let anybody in.
Yeah, we definitely are, and it's not a pride thing. It's just it's something different.
It's almost survival, I think. You know,
it's a survival thing.
The way, and I think especially for Black men, I know even for me growing up, it's like we're socialized to believe that in order for you to survive, you keep your head down, you keep your mouth shut, and you don't let anybody in. You don't give anybody ammunition to hurt you.
Right.
And it causes us to really try to stifle that vulnerability and keep all those feelings. And we wear a mask.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, you know, by the time the mask comes off, it's too late. You know, we've reached that point where there's just no turning back.
Yeah, you're exactly right, man. And you know, and that comes with, you know, communication is also major, you know. And, you know, and me growing up as a big brother, you know, I think and I'll open up a little bit about my own challenges because, you know, I lost my father at 15. I became that dude, you know, in my family. So I know that what that is to, you know, and my buddy Todd, he literally lost like 4 siblings and his mama. All like
wow.
Every few years. It was just crazy what this dude went through. And I mean, it's crazy. It's I mean, I knew he was going through a lot. He even held on to his mom's apartment. He would never let it go. And that's how bad it got. And that's why I said, man, I get it. I get it, man, but you know, this is an apartment. Don't treat it like a house. So this builder can say, get out anytime you want. I said, don't get too attached to this. Buildings burn down, buildings change ownership, they would change the rent. The rent could go up. Anything could get you out of here. I said, man, you got to get some, you know what I mean? You got to get some help because you're attaching yourself to something that's not feasible. It's not real. This is not real what you're doing, you know? And I say that because, you know, when I know when I lost my dad and then I became, you know, the big brother, I'm already the big brother, but it was different. I mean, I went ahead, I got an after school job and I was doing all kinds of stuff, man, because but you know what it did though? It made me become responsible. But sometimes even being responsible, you can become too responsible. Meaning you won't let nobody else do nothing.
Right.
You know what's best. Oh, you apply yourself to certain things because it makes sense. And you become that person, which is a lot. It's a lot of responsibility to take on certain things, but you got to take on certain things, whether it's good or bad. And some things, you know, something just got to happen like that. It's going to happen now. It's going to happen later. But you got to do something. I'm one of those people who got to do something. I can't watch things unfixed. I can't watch things sit there and rot. I'm just like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But sometimes that affects, you know, who's around you also because you're so used to doing things. You know, you become the big brother to everybody. You know what I mean? And you get things done, but sometimes you step on toes. And that can happen. But it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and when you communicate it, some people get it, some people don't get it. Even when you communicate, look, this is going to affect later. And I do it with my wife because, you know, sometimes, because my wife is from a big family, 9, 10 people, sisters. So she's like the youngest girl, and she got lost in the shuffle. You get lost in 9 or 10 people. You get lost. Especially when you're the last few, you get lost.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I'm over. And the parents get older and be like, look, I ain't taking care of no more kids. You all figure it out. And you'll be 19. And they'll be like, okay. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
We'll be taking care of y'all. You know what I mean? And it becomes something different. Me, there's only 3 of us. You know, so I'm from a small. So things, I had to make decisions on everything. You're talking about everything. You know, how to move, how to make sure take care of my brothers and take care of my mama, and that became a whole nother level, which becomes very hands-on. The meaning you won't let nobody else do nothing. Sometimes
and so 50,
you feel like you can get it done faster, you can get it done, you know. And when you're that's the yin and yang of life.
Right. And so at 15, you become the man of the house.
That's what happens, man.
Yeah, and that's life. Yeah, you set the role. Well, look, I feel like we could have this conversation for another couple of hours. I know I'm gonna have to wrap this up because you're a busy man.
We can talk forever, man.
I know. Look, I know you got to go change hats and all that kind of stuff. Look, man,
we might have to do a part 2 to this one, man.
We may have to.
We just scratched the surface, I think.
I think you're right, and next time I'm gonna have to go in my closet and put my hat on.
You gonna put your hat on?
I'll put my hat on. I'm gonna go get my fedora next time.
You better put some hats on, man. I'm telling you, put some hats on.
Well, look, this has been fantastic. I appreciate the time, but I also appreciate the vulnerability. I appreciate you opening up and just sharing, and that's one of the things I appreciate about you. Whether it's conversation one-on-one, even on social media. You open us up to your relationship with you and your wife, and you celebrate, each other, loving each other, things like that, which is so powerful. Because again, I think for a lot of us, especially for Black men, seeing that open expression of love and affection between a couple is also something that is therapeutic for a lot of us. I think so. So I appreciate that too. But
yeah, man.
But look, I do want to. I want to give you a minute as we wrap this up. If there's anything that I haven't asked you that you want to share, if you want to tell people where you're going to be soon, we can do that too. But I just want to give you the floor for a minute for any parting thoughts that you want to share.
Oh, I just want to let people know that I as much as I love what I do as my career, there are passions that are near and dear to me. And I truly believe in planting seeds, especially with our young people. I am a huge part of the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon, New York. I'm working with Denzel Washington. He's also an alum of the Boys and Girls Club, as well as tons of celebrities who have their own personal stories of redemption and struggle and all the things that go into being a young person growing up in different eras, man. And it's all the same. It's all the same. Yeah. And the Boys and Girls Club has been there for me since I was probably 11 years old, man. I've been attached to this Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon. We are in a process right now of building a new club right now. I say not just my club, but any club, donate. They're doing amazing work. And this is the time that we have to connect to our young people who one day will be thriving, responsible adults one day. And invest in that. Always say you gain nothing by holding on to knowledge and things that are useful to our young people. And that includes me speaking at high schools, trying to catch as many as possible. Because I know how hard it is out there. A lot of young people are frustrated. I do think there needs to be more programs for young people to be creative. I do think there, and even other young people, attach yourself to your friends. Let them know how great life can be and how challenging it is. It's challenging to be challenged, and people don't want to be challenged no more, man. And it's hard to focus. I know it's hard to focus at the speed of the world right now. The phones give us a false impression of what life is. Life's not that. It's not like the phone. I promise. A lot of things you see are not real. It's not real. It's not possible.
Right.
It's literally things that are made to feel like it's easy to obtain. It's not easy to do all that stuff. So do your homework, stay on the grind, find out what your passion is, what your dream is. And that also goes to parents, man. Be there for your kids, man, because we have to raise responsible adults, man, to take that
absolutely
level. Otherwise, especially Black people, we as a people, we have a bigger hill to climb, and it's going to help if you will rest in peace knowing that your children are in good hands and they have a good head on their shoulders. So I say that very responsible, be in your children's life, support anything local in your community. And that includes voting for the right person on the local level also, which is very helpful in getting what you need in your city.
Absolutely.
Or whatever you live at. Be responsible. I say that, and I just say thank you so much for everyone who has ever supported me in my journey. The journey continues. We love you guys out there. Let's go. It's a lot of work to do. Let's go, parents.
Absolutely.
Let's go,
Absolutely.
schools. And let's go, you, young people.
Absolutely. You heard it from J.B. Smoove himself. Thank you so much, J.B., for being on the Strong Talk podcast today. Thank you to everyone who tuned in to watch the Strong Talk podcast today. If you want to learn more about how you can get involved in your community in suicide prevention and awareness, if you want to learn how to volunteer, how to support a walk, go to afsp.org. You'll find information there about how you can volunteer and get more involved in your community. And to anyone out there who's listening, I leave you with these parting thoughts. If you or someone you know are living with mental health challenges, get support. If you or someone you know are in crisis, simply call or text 988 to be connected to a trained counselor who can connect you with the help, with the services, with the support you need when you need it most, because you matter, your life matters, your pain matters. You are not alone. And that is Strong Talk. Thank you.